For years, WSYB production manager Jason Davis was told his cerebral palsy would keep him off the martial arts mats. That pill was hard for Jason to swallow, but ended up being just the fuel he needed to find his passion.
When I was first born, the doctors actually didn't believe that I was going to survive, and they gave me last rites and everything, so I've been fighting since I was born.
32 years later, Jason has proven to himself, his friends, and family that he can do anything he sets his mind to.
I've got older brothers and a sister, and I was always treated just like they were. If they were out doing something, I was too. It was just in a different way. For example, if they were out doing wood, stacking wood, I was too. I was just on my knees doing it.
Jason credits a supportive family to helping him realize that he doesn't have to stop living or following his dreams just because he was built differently.
But I've always been raised to, you can do whatever you want to do if you put your mind to it. It may look different, but that's okay.
It is that determination that guided Jason to where he is today. After high school, a local agency told Jason he was unemployable. They suggested he continue volunteering and collect disability from the state. That was the last thing Jason wanted to do. He knew he wanted to work in radio, so he set out to make his dream become a reality, getting his start in radio as an intern.
13 years later, there's only one department that I haven't been involved in, and I'm not much of a salesman, so that's probably good. But I've been involved in every department at the radio station in one form or another, and I just enjoy what I'm doing, and I've worked myself up now to the production director here at Catamount Radio for 5 radio stations.
The determination that kept Jason climbing in his career is the same fire that is fueling his new mission to train in the martial arts. When Jason was 8, he tried attending classes with his older brothers. At the time, the instructor said it wouldn't be a good idea.
And last year, at the age of 31, I was speaking with a coworker, and I said, you know, I always wanted to try martial arts, but I can't really do it. I was told that I couldn't do it, given my physical disability.
From that conversation, a new spark was ignited in Jason. He wanted to pursue the martial arts now more than when he was a kid.
I had a friend who owned a local martial arts school who was on the rescue squad with me, and I knew she'd give me a straight answer. So I Facebooked her and I said, is this something I can do? I said, I've done everything else that I've wanted to do. I said, and it seems to me that you could probably do some of this from a seated position. And she said, well, of course, she said, I'd have to adapt the program. She said, why don't you hook up with me and we can figure something out. And that was over a year ago.
After several hours of back and forth conversations about Jason's limitations and abilities, Kathy Maxey Scarcello of Rising Sun Martial Arts in Pittsford took Jason on as a student and adapted her program to accommodate him.
I think I have a lot of respect for Jason because he could not find a program that would accept him as an adult. And he wanted this so bad that he came into a children's class. That's all I was offering. After a year of watching him come through this door 2-3 times a week to do kids' classes, I developed an adult program because of him.
The partnership between Jason and Kathy has been life-changing for both.
Just for me, I mean, the physical gains that I've seen from doing this, as I mentioned, it kept me off medication. It's really just kind of helped my whole temperament, and it's made me realize that that what I always thought was true. If you put your mind to something, you can do it.
And as a result, I'm growing from it, and the other students are as well. So I'm thankful to him for what he's brought to the dojo and to my own training.
Kathy admits it was a little intimidating having a student like Jason coming to class, and says she can understand why some instructors are timid at welcoming students with a disability.
I mean, they walk through the door and you're like, I don't know if they can fall on the floor. I don't know what will hurt them. I mean, there's a lot. We spent hours and hours getting to know each other on what his limitations were, what he thought his limitations were, and he was just referring to that. A lot of the things he thought he couldn't do, he ended up being able to do.
For Kathy, Jason has renewed her passion of teaching martial arts.
But as an instructor, it was a little bit different. It was exciting, and for me, I mean, I was coming up to the backside of my martial arts career. I'm in my 50s. I'm looking at the next 10 years, passing the dojo on to my upper belt students. And all of a sudden, this past year has breathed new life into my dojo, into my training. And that's been really exciting as an instructor, because you can't just look at a move and say, okay, do this move. I have to say, well, Jay, you gotta use this muscle, and then you have to activate that. Now look here and do this. So you really had to break down every single move. And in a lot of times I had to say what's important and what's not.
Jason says the martial arts training has been more than just physically rewarding for him.
I'm a different person than I was a year ago in so many ways. You know, it's changed my life in a way that I would have never expected. And I mean, it's helped me physically. It's kept me off medication. It's made me, you know, for somebody with a disability, you know, your physical exercise and your physical routine is day in and day out, and it has to be done. And there are days where you get totally sick of doing it, and I'll take the day off and get back at it tomorrow. And you know, doing martial arts has sort of made me kind of stay with that routine, because, well, if you don't do this, then you can't do that, and you love doing that, so you better stay on your game. And so it's worked hand in hand that way.
Kathy believes fellow students benefit from having Jason in class. It's allowed them to get close to a disability and see how hard someone like Jason has to work.
By having Jason in the class has enabled these kids to get up close and personal with a disability. And because of his personality, it's made it very easy for them to get close to it. You know, they're not afraid of it. In the first couple classes, they were like wide-eyed and bushy-tailed and deer in the headlight, like, oh, what is this? There's a lot of respect, because they see how hard he has to work to do some of the stuff that comes rather easy for them. The kata is one thing. It takes Jason a lot longer to get through the kata than the other students.
Jason's advice for others who face any sort of disability is to stay determined.
And use that, you can't do this, you can't do that. Use that for your fire, and take that and say, yeah, I can, and here we go. And that's every class, that's what I do.
Next week on Access, Jason sits down with us again to talk about how his love for martial arts is helping others with disabilities try out the sport also.